So lastly, I want to start a fun round. It's a quick round, so not much of an answer, detailed one I want, but a quick, whatever comes in your mind. And no one can copy their answer. Please make sure. So I'll start with you, Rakesh. Quickly, describe the real estate market according to you in one word. Take your time, but you can't copy his answer, just letting you know.
I would say creative.
Creative. Nice.
Exciting.
Great. So you need to tell me throughout your career, what is the one best advice that you have ever received, which you still, follow it, and one worst advice that if you want to talk about it, it gives you a chuckle.
Yeah, I've been lucky to have worked with many, I'd say, strategic leaders. I think the best piece of advice I have received is it's all in the details. Never delegate that.
And worst, of course, which you don't follow, but it still makes you chuckle or laugh that someone had actually given this advice to you.
Oh, So a lot of times you would have received advice like play within your means, but I have always had very, very audacious dreams. And as marketeers, if we don't dream, what are we doing?
True. What about you? Best advice ever received?
Very interesting. So I would say the best advice was, get into the details. Understand any argument that you want to build can be better communicated and supported with the help of data and the scenario analysis that you get to, right? It is very important to build scenarios. I mean, I can have a point of view. The other will have another point of view. And whose point of view is better? At times, it is the chair or the designation whose point of view is getting better. But then if it is supplemented with the scenarios, scenario 1, scenario 2, with scenario look, then the conversations happen in a dispassionate manner, looking at them, right? So scenario development is a very good way to solve conflicts in decision making. This was the good advice that I received over a period of time. I think in terms of worst advice, I don't think
ever you have got.
I don't think so. I don't think I would have. I can't remember any.
Okay. So how do you stay motivated and innovative in a rapidly evolving industry like real estate?
So I think it is about not getting lost in the transactions. It is looking at the bigger picture. Whenever I get, I feel that, things are not getting controlled, I always take a few steps back. Look at the larger picture. Look at where we started from, what was the objective, and where are we, and where is it that the things are not going right. And then just try and correct that piece. I call it a zoom out and a zoom in approach. Zoom out, look at the larger picture, understand, what's happening at a larger level, and then focus.
What about you?
I think it's extremely important to have a life beyond what you actually do. And I don't mean like a hobby, but to have a vocation or have an appreciation of finer things in life. Be extremely curious, and you draw in inspirations from that. Your next campaign could actually be a visit to a gallery or to see something in action, which has nothing to do with the job that you do. And I think ability to appreciate that is what keeps you fresh, keeps you creative, and bring in a perspective, which is what I think your organization looks at you.
So not naming the industries you have actually worked in past, if it was not real estate, not even the industries we have worked, which industry you would have actually started your career in?
That's easy. Luxury fashion.
Luxury fashion. Okay. What about you?
I think I've been fortunate to have my career the way it has panned out. And whenever I look back, I feel, I think I happen to be at the right places at the right time. Okay, so I got into retail in 90s when, a lot of retail brands, international brands started coming into India. All right. Then I was working with Kodak when it was among top 3 brands in the world. Then retail happened, and then, the writing instruments happened. And then the telecom industry happened right at that stage. Okay. I think I've had a dream career so far. And I wouldn't like to change that. I think only other industry which has done equally well, where people after spending a long time in that industry have done disproportionately well, is the IT industry. Maybe at times, but I think, I've had a dream
So can you tell us about a particular challenge you faced in your career and how you overcame it?
Oh, many a time. I think I've had more failures than successes. And these failures were mostly in meeting the objectives, meeting the goals, and delivering the results, or maybe, leading the teams well. So everything, which can't go wrong has gone wrong with me. But I think it is that ability to rebound. It is that ability to stand up again. Just look for those successes that you can get. And I think, which is what I also keep telling people close to me, is that maybe if I look at 10 instances, maybe I got 8 failures, but I got 2 successes which I capitalized upon, which I actually, but I think the important was to every time get up after those 8 failures. Is just show up. Is just show up, have that firm mind, have that conviction, have that ability. I think educating yourself, learning, unlearning, relearning, education and fitness, should be lifelong goals. Adaptability is very, very important for a professional. I've been working. I started very early. So at the age of 55, I have about 35 years of experience. And I've actually worked with many brands which kind of, vanished over the years. Kodak, didn't happen. Reebok also has gone through various transformations in the past. All other brands, telecom industry. I think the only thing what actually, helps one in a long career is the ability to get up after every failure. And then it is adaptability and learnability. These two abilities, abilities to adapt and ability to learn, are extremely important.
I agree. What about you?
Throughout my career, if I look back, most of my positions are what I call those Xbox positions. They actually were not positions before I did that particular role, right from my first role in branding in Tata Steel, which was that industry didn't have anything as branded or somebody to do that role. Similarly, when I came into the Taj, and I think the first thing was never to have the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Have that faith in your abilities. Work extremely hard so that nobody can beat you by sheer hard work. Don't take it for granted that because you may be smarter than the lot that you can slack. It doesn't. If that's the case, you are there because you have that faith. I have worked in organizations where my colleagues had more years of experience than my age. There were times when I have been entrusted with extremely mission-critical projects, like the renovation of Taj Mahal, Mumbai, after the unfortunate incidents of 26/11. That's the single biggest, I would say, scale of renovation any hotel in the world has. 5 different design houses from across the world, more than 1,500 people at site. A hotel shut for more than a year, And when you look across the table, the vice chairman and chairman of the company is looking at you, and you initially wonder why I am here. So I almost asked my boss that, is it because I'm the youngest you are throwing me in front of the wolf? He was like, no, I believe that you should be able to do it. So I think that's very, very important to have that faith, work as hard as you can, and think of it as you think as a league throughout the year. I take a lot of my inspiration from Stones. So, it's you don't win the Premier League by playing well one day. There are 38 matches in a season, and it's not a fluke. Anybody who claims that whichever team won this year won it by chance, it's not. So like Rakesh rightly said, show up. I think a lot of times half the job gets done by that. And have that faith. Have that faith that you are here because what you bring to the table is valuable and never undermined.
So quickly, who is your role model and mentor, be in this industry or any other industry from, and why? I'm sure our audience would also like to know.
Well, I've been lucky to have worked with some really, really, I would say, visionary leaders. So when I joined real estate, one of the reason I came to real estate as an industry was because of Abhishek Luna, what he had as a vision of creating. Then I had the good fortune of working with somebody as visionary as PNC Menon, who created a business out of absolutely nothing. And now I have the good fortune with working with somebody as visionary as Mr. Maharaj Manoj. Somebody who is touching 80 this year, the energy, the zeal, the focus, the attention to detail that he brings in every day to the world, he wants all of us to share. So such inspirational leaders this industry has, who have actually toiled hard work over the years and have perfected that is something really I look up to.
What about you?
So I've also had a great fortune to work with some very strong personalities. Strong in the sense, people who are true leaders, who can be good mentors, coaches, and also managers at the same time. So they could don different hats at different times. So right from my first boss, when I started my career in 1989, Mr. Jagmohan Mogia, to the long journey that, the latest that I would say is, before joining Rustomjee was Idea Cellular and Aditya Birla Group. And Aditya Birla Group actually is known for developing and grooming people, the kind of structures they have created. Right from the group CHRO, Mr. Dr. Sadhguru Misra, coming to the unit level, our managing director, Mr. Himanshu Kapania, Mr. Amrish Jain, Sashi Shankar, Lakshmi Narayana. And then apart from that, some bosses that I work with, one person, Mr. Rajendra Chaurasia, Mr. Sunil Tolani, absolutely different personalities, but both of them taught me different things. And then after coming into real estate, I wouldn't have survived in real estate had it not been for Percy Chaudhary. He's gem of a guy. He's like a god. He's such a pristine personality. He doesn't buckle up under pressure. He does not create pressure. With him, you like to work. I've always believed that, people work for bosses. Now, he is one boss for whom I can work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, or extend model.
Wow.
So,
okay. So lastly, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone starting their career in real estate marketing today? Let's start with you.
So what I feel, I think marketing, I think what's happening and what I would like to see more of is marketeers not just sitting in the office. They have to meet customers. They have to understand consumer thought process, psychology, aspirations, fears, what they are looking forward to. Understand the competition, understand the total value proposition, and then basis that, work on their consumer understanding. So this is what my advice would be to all the marketeers. Marketing is, it is fancier than sales. Any MBA that we interview would like to start their career in marketing than sales. I've seen it. Right. I think my request to all of them would be, is that focus on consumer understanding. Focus on knowing your consumers in the best possible manner and do that hard work, do that grind. And I think, after that initial period, once you acquire that, then start building on the knowledge.
What about you?
Be extremely inquisitive and curious.
Yeah.
And like I said, have a vocation outside what your day job is. Because you don't know where your next inspiration is going to come from. Consumers do not consume your brand or your product in isolation.
True.
It is an ecosystem of brands or category of products any consumer consumes. See the consumer in action, consuming that other category. And what are the triggers or sentiments which are used to communicate to the consumer, which is where your next thought or idea, or because all of us want hotly different campaigns.
Yeah.
That difference is only going to come if you draw inspiration from different sources. It cannot be the same, the formula or the model and just copy it what my boss did when he was or she was the brand manager. Never once.
True. So once again, thank you so much for coming today for the Marketing Think Tank. My idea behind this podcast was basically talk about marketing in deep dive where users or consumers, even buyers, even the millennials understand their their proper thought process goes into marketing when it comes to real estate. Because there have been debates, there have been talks, there have been memes, there's nothing much happening in marketing. It's more gone to a similar zone. But I'm sure with this podcast, people are understanding what goes into real estate marketing. So thank you so much for coming in together.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.